It seems like I got nothing to do. Hit up Sim Standard Radio. I'm listening to one of the top podcasts, and they bringing you the real. And when they talk sports, it feels like you on the field. From real talk to real sports, from Madden to 2K. Just listen for one day, they'll grab you and you'll say it's on the net, man. Turn off your stereo, not music. I mess with Sim Standard Radio.
What up, guys? Welcome back, man. Sim Standard Radio. This is episode 109. And we got another one for you guys. Just to give you a quick update, spoken to the equipment guru, Dustin Smith from EA. He may not make it tonight. He advised me that maybe he'll try to come on next week. You know, these guys are hard at work trying to get things tightened up. So he may not make it tonight. But if he doesn't, you know, we still have some other topics that we'll cover, as well as we look forward to your calls. Hopefully your calls will dictate the direction of the show. In the spirit of equipment and ratings, you know, if you guys want to talk about that, feel free. But definitely I'm looking forward to when he is able to come on, whether it's tonight or next week or what have you. So that way, you know, he can kind of tell you guys, you know, what they're looking to, you know, what they're looking at doing right now as far as ratings and, of course, the equipment stuff. But outside of that, guys, you know, we're definitely going to do our normal. We'll go around and, you know, give our quick introduction. As far as the topics, let me say that in advance, because if some of you guys are listening online, if some of you that may already be in the queue, you know, maybe your calls or your questions may be directed to the topics at hand, so let me at least mention those. First and foremost, we definitely want to talk about Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. You know, how do we feel about his decision? Does it make him look weak in any way? Is he, you know, chasing a ring? Will it taint his legacy, et cetera, et cetera? We'll definitely discuss that amongst ourselves. And then also Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat. We want to take a different approach with that. That one more so, we kind of want to talk about, you know, did the Heat do D-Wade dirty? You know, should they have tried to keep him there? I know he has, you know, he's a little older. I know he's had some injuries in the past and things like that. He just had a great season last year, but we'll kind of discuss it from that angle. Was it the right decision? Either one of them in the wrong in this scenario? Should he have tried to be, you know, a Heat for life? We'll definitely discuss that. And then also another topic, we'll talk about Madden's slider system. I've been doing some, you know, conversations this week with some of the devs and, you know, more importantly, one or two of the engineers, and I think I have a grasp on how the sliders actually work in Madden. I know Smitty plays around with them a lot as well. You know, we're not slider gurus, but I think we are getting a hold on how everything works. So we'll kind of explain that, as well as we'll, you know, kind of talk about how we would prefer them to work. I know Smitty brought up offline some news that came out from NHL, so I'll definitely let Smitty take the lead on that portion, you know, kind of talk about what they're doing with their sliders that Madden definitely needs. So as you can see, you know, we have a lot to talk about. Right now it appears to be just myself and Smitty, but of course if Azur, you know, comes in later, you know how that goes, we'll bring him in. As far as the phone calls, guys, we'll go back to the same format. We'll do a rotation as far as answering, because I think that seems to work the best. So without further ado, let's bring Smitty on, man. How was your week? And, you know, any lead thing that you want to speak on before we jump into the topics?
Yeah, no, my week was good. You know what I'm saying? Week was good. Excuse me. As far as what I want to touch on here, you know, I mean, obviously we see what's been going on out here as far as what was put out there about the police shootings and what happened with these individuals. You know, I'll just say this, you know, I want to keep it short, but at the same, because I mean, I've touched on this, you know, when it came to other cases. The thing is that we pull out and I mean, don't get it twisted. The police that did what they did were wrong. Without question, they deserve to lose their badges. They deserve to be arrested. Whatever justice needs to be served properly to them, they deserve it. They earned that, 100%. But at the same time, outside of that, we're not going to act like that shooting that happened in Minnesota was the very first shooting they ever had. I mean, I saw people tweeting and stuff like, oh, you can't go anywhere. You're not safe anywhere. So that's the first time that's the first instance of crime that happened. You see what I'm saying in Minnesota? I mean, it happens everywhere. And what I'm saying is this is my main point. You could bust out the camera phones and we could film everything when we see cops doing things wrong, or we see people ganging up on somebody, fighting on a subway, fighting in the neighborhood or whatever. Oh yeah, it's time to film all that ratchetness and laugh at it. But what about catching somebody diffusing situations on film? What about filming that stuff and saying and pointing out these people, finding out who these people are, and pointing that stuff out? You see what I'm saying? If you want things to be better around your neck of the woods, it shouldn't take somebody getting killed in order for that to happen, regardless if it... Look, just like that one lady said, that one female cop that did the video, she's took guns from kids, basically, 12, 13-year-old kids. She's had to tell many parents that their child's not making it home tonight and everything. That happens many times over. And I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that one hand accounts for the other. What I'm saying is that I cut on the news every day, and I can hear about somebody getting killed, somebody getting shot, somebody getting stabbed, someone getting beat down, somebody getting this, someone getting raped, something this. And that's just here. What about in Minnesota where that happened? What about in Los Angeles? What about in Baton Rouge? Something like... It has to come to a point where people have to be accountable for the people. Don't just band together when this happens. Like I had heard in Baton Rouge, they was doing a second line. You know, they rallied around that store and they was doing the second line and took to the streets and marching out the street and all that. But at the same time, this is like a flavor of the week kind of situation. And it's no different. I mean, the sad part, and this is extremely sad, I can correlate this to how we talk when we talk about gaming. It's no different than how people complain about Madden. They do it for a season and then go back to their regularly scheduled program. People get mad, oh man, it's E3, oh, here's a big hype and blah, blah, blah. And then the madness is at an all-time high. And then after that, it simmers right back down. It's the same deal that happens when these people when these people get killed. There's this big old uproar, and then after that, give it about a week or two, and it settles right back down in its regularly scheduled programming. Oh yeah, we got to take action. Da da da. That sounds no different than, yeah, 2K need to come back. Save 65. Da da da. It's no different. All this noise gets made, and then eventually it all simmers right back down to, ain't nothing going to change. Ain't nobody going to do nothing. It's no different. But what I'm saying, I said it when it came to Mike Brown. It's with Trayvon Martin. There's many Trayvons out here. There are many Trayvon Martins well before Trayvon Martin. It's just because you have cameras and you have these cell phone cameras and everything. You can film all this stuff now. That's what takes it to a whole nother level, and it can be broadcasted that much more. Why don't you broadcast the ratchetness? And instead of posting it on World Star and laughing at it, instead of acting like it's a joke, how about take action on that stuff? Because this is where the parents need to come in, where those role models need to come in, where peers need to come in and actually step up and get involved and mold people and correct people in their error of their ways. That's what needs to be done. Because when you let the world raise these children, and you let them be the main influences, this is what you get. And then you have these, and like I said, I'm not saying this to excuse anything about a cop or what they did. No, those guys are improperly trained. They're mentally unbalanced. Or those guys are going into these situations with fear. And you give somebody with fear a weapon, yeah, they're going to wild out. They're going to shoot first, ask questions later, because fear is driving their actions, and actions speak louder than any words. The brother said, I'm pulling out my license and registration, and then he fires. He asked him to do one thing and contradicted himself, and in turn, because of fear, he fired. See what I'm saying? So there needs to be drastic change. But the thing is, change won't happen until people take it upon themselves to make the change. You can't wait on a government official. You can't wait on a president. You can't wait on a cop. You need to, it needs to be a community action where you have to say, hey, we have to come together because this is our neighborhood. We pay the taxes here. We take, these are your streets, your neighborhoods to take care of. And we have to take care of that stuff. And if you're not going to take care of it, well, it's going to fall by the wayside. And then don't just look at the cop and say, oh, you're supposed to do it. No, you're supposed to do it too. It's your neighborhood. Take care of it. You take care of it. You minimize these things. I see Arab community. I'll just end it with this because I don't want to run on with this too much more. But you have communities, other minorities that take care of their own, and they do for their own. But us, man, people ready to steal, kill, destroy all over the place. When it comes to, and I mean, talking about blacks, yes, we do that. And I mean, it happens across the board. But what I'm saying is you have some minorities that really do their best to look out for each other no matter where they live in, no matter what is going on. They do their best due diligence to look out for each other on their own. They don't wait for an official. They don't have to run to a government authority, because they're positioning themselves and taking care of their own to push each other up and enhance each other. We need to do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter what skin color, doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in. You get it how you live. And if you choose to live a certain way because you let the circumstance overrun you, of course you're always going to be blaming everything else, except what you're not doing to improve your situation as best as you can. I'll just stop it there, but I'll throw it back to you, Sam.
Yeah, man, that's basically along the lines that I would approach it too. I'll be real brief with it. I do see that we have 2 calls, so we'll get those calls in, and then we will tackle the topic. Well, actually, we'll tackle a topic first, then bring the calls in, because, like I said, people have expressed that, we have so many calls sometimes that we never get to the topics, and they do want to hear from us. So we'll start breaking it up like that, a topic and then some calls and then topic, calls, et cetera, et cetera. But I definitely want to touch on what Smitty just said, man. I mean, I hope you guys understand what Smitty was saying. In a nutshell, what those cops did, horrendous. I mean, you heard it in my video if you saw it. It's fear. That's all it is. It's a shame. It's fear, and that has no place in law enforcement as far as petrified. Now, if you have a little nervousness to you, little butterflies or whatever, that's normal. Being cautious is normal. But being reckless, there's no place for that. But also what Smitty is saying, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't want to say, is it's a tragedy. Of course, we're all outraged. And, whether you are for Obama or not, his message that he said we all should be outraged. I agree with that. Of course, it's going to affect our community a little more, saying our, speaking to African-American, black and brown individuals. But at the same time, Smitty hit it right on the head. I mean, even where I live at right now, it's crime ridiculous, daily. My hometown where I grew up, crime is rampant, daily. But like Smitty said, you never see that footage. And And we're not saying people are wrong, but what we're saying is, it's the old saying that you learn from your own parents, man. You know, things ain't going to change until you make it change. So as a whole, you know, we got to start taking the community back some kind of way. And no, the two don't really have a connection, so to speak, but in a way it does. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you understand what we're trying to say, you'll get that. You know, and you know, like I said, man, it's crazy what's going on out here in the world with these cops. This fear is too much. I seen a crazy stat, man. And I think it says something like, with these guys, and you know, I laugh to keep from being sad. They said it's like 100 plus. What was it, like 126? I think known killings from cops to black males. 2016. I don't care, you know, whether you believe it's targeted or not. That ain't up for me to push these type of agendas on people. All I'm saying is the facts don't lie. When you look at these tapes, what we saw yesterday, like I said in my video, if that would have been an Asian guy, a white guy, or Hispanic guy, whatever, what those cops did was definitely not the proper training. And it just so happens that the African American community is the one that's being is you know, at the top of the list, so to speak, with these murders. It's a shame. But I got to agree with Smitty real quick before we jump on to the next topic. You know, you got to take your community back, too, because it's a lot of murders that go on daily. Community. I'm telling y'all, man, I mean, every day here where I live, every single day. You know, my wife's coworker, her brother just got shot. You know, it's just crazy. It's crazy. So you have to, I mean, look at Chicago. I think I could end it right there.
Right.
Look at Chicago, man. And, you know, listen to some of these young, I actually know a couple cats in Chicago and had the opportunity to hear from some of the youngins. These, man, they asked a 9 or 10-year-old boy, what do you want to be when he grow up? And he just said a lot. That's crazy. It's crazy. The way they think, the young, like the 21-year-old, it's crazy. But like I said, man, you know, we might scare people on this show. Maybe this ain't the show for that, but sometimes you just got to address real-life situations, man. It ain't all about gaming and stuff. There's real stuff going on out here. But let's bring it back, man. You know, feel free, guys, anybody who listening to the show, if you want to call in and comment, feel free. You know, we'll take this show whatever direction y'all want to go in. But let's tackle one of these comments first, and then we'll go around and grab those who are waiting in the queue. We do have 757. I see he's on, so we'll bring him in first. After that, we'll take 2 calls. We have a 205, of course, and then we have 267-242. We'll take those calls, address whatever you guys have to say, hit the next topic, and then we'll take the next call after that, which is, again, another 267, and the prefix of that is 334. So, Smitty, man, I know we talked about it a little bit offline, man, so I'll kick it to you first. I think the underlying thing is I think we pretty much agree. It's just different aspects of the, you know, the details of where we may have different opinions. But Kevin Durant, man, I mean, this guy, you know, like I said, I think he's a good guy. I don't know him personally, so I can't bash him. I refuse to do that. But how do you feel, man? I mean, about the move in general, whether good or bad, and you know, does it hurt his legacy? You know, does it make him look weak in any way by doing what he did?
No, doesn't make him look weak. It, you know, like you got to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? You got to be realistic with the situation. I mean, this guy, and I mean this, and once again, this is just how I feel about it. But this is a guy that has had serious injury happen. Why go through the toil of being the main guy, and what I mean is the main guy in the sense of this, the burden is going to be on your shoulders, and it's not even promised that he's going to get the ring. Now, I mean, and like I said, it does mess up the competitive balance. It definitely messes that up because of what happened with OKC. I mean, OKC is a lottery team now. You know what I'm saying? Like because I mean, once Westbrook is out of there, because he's gonna be moved. I just don't know if it'll be before the trade deadline or if it'll be in the off season. But he's leaving. So you look at that, you lost the heart of your team. I mean, you know, Harden left well before, and you lost. These are all draft pieces right here. Ibaka, KD, and Westbrook. Like they're all pretty much they're done. They're gone. And KD definitely is not going to go back. He's not going back to OKC. He's done. So when you see all of that, it's like, yeah, it looks like a weak move, and especially with the circumstance. Down 3-1. I mean, up 3-1. Excuse me. Up 3-1. Could have went to the finals, and you couldn't get the job done, so you just basically couldn't beat them, so you joined them. I get it, you know. I think he took a move so then he can at least get the championship because he wants to get the ring. You know, and the thing is, he did what, like I said in my video, he did what Charles Barkley did, except the difference is Barkley waited until the latter part of his prime to do the team-up thing. He tried to couple up with Drexler and Olajuwon, and he was thinking, okay, maybe I could get these guys over the hump and we can get to the finals, in which they did draw close, but it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And then he played out the rest of his career there. So KD doesn't want to be one of those cases because, and this is what I was saying too in the video, was basically if KD stayed with OKC, let's say if he stayed for a longer term, like if he signed a 5-year deal or something like that, he's basically going to get – OKC is going to get the better part of his prime. And what if Westbrook doesn't re-up and he just rolls out and goes elsewhere? Now, this dude's stuck. And like I said, I bet you people would be on Twitter and everywhere else talking about, man, you know what? Real talk, KD should have took that deal. He would have caught some heat, yeah, but he should have just took that deal. I'm like, yeah. That's what, you know, and I mean, it probably won't be in droves, but there'll be a decent number of people that would say it because he's stuck. But then, you know, we're pouncing on him for being loyal to the team and all that. And this is the other thing, too. I would say this. The whole loyalty thing. Look, Allen Iverson been out the NBA for a minute. Of course, they retired his jersey and they branded him on the court and all that good stuff or what have you. When he had to file for bankruptcy, when that was out there, did the Sixers jump up and say, "Oh no, we got you, because you a lifetime Sixer, we got you"? No, they ain't covering him. He's only as good as what he was valuable for. Yeah, he made records and he did his thing there, but that was it. Like. He was used up, and of course they celebrate his greatness for what he did, but they're not going to literally take care of him. So at the end of the day, do what you need to do to get your ring. KD did the most unpopular of moves, but I can't get mad at him for making that move. So I think it was a legit move considering the circumstance, at least in my opinion, for him. So I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, there's definitely a few ways to look at it. And, you know, I'm the type that I could not agree with a move that somebody makes, but I can respect them at the same time. And that's kind of how I look at the Kevin Durant situation. It's like my only beef was not the Warriors. That's my only thing. And the only reason why is because of the circumstance. Like, this is a team, like, to me, maybe it's my competitive fire, but I'm looking at it like, man, I could beat these dudes, man. These are the dudes that are keeping me to get over the hump, and I should have beat them, had them. So to me, circumstantially, it looks weak. Now, whether he is weak or not, like whether he's the type of guy that I'm going to just join him, that was the question I posed. Well, I don't know that. I don't think, people are crazy, man. Like, social media really shows you how much of the loser mentality some folks have. Like, I'm not in the business of bashing folks no more. I don't know them like that. I don't waste my time doing that. I do not know Kevin Durant personally, so I'm not going to call him a punk and all that. I ain't going to go that far because it's really just our opinion. But what I can do is give my opinion on what I saw and how I would perceive it. It makes it look weak because of the team he went to and how, it's just like, dang, y'all had these dudes and this is your biggest enemy, and then it's like, well, I'm going to just go with them. You know what I mean? That's what it makes it look like. Now, like I said, my man did say he was going to make a basketball decision. So as soon as I heard that Golden State was in the running, I said, oh, that way going. If he doing it on basketball, what does that mean? To me, basketball decision means the best chance to get a championship. So out of the teams that they, quote-unquote, said was showing interest, which one is the one that's going to give him the best chance? State Warriors. I just don't like the move because of the circumstance of the series and how all of that went down, and now it just makes it seem like he's just giving it. And another thing I'll say, because I've seen this on Twitter as well, like you said, like the Barkley situation, and, people have brought up LeBron and all that. I look at everything from a case to case because I didn't agree with LeBron when he went to Miami. But I personally feel like it wasn't as I can't say one is worse than the other, but to me, I think at this moment, Durant's decision looks worse because of the fact that it's the Golden State Warriors that's arguably the best team in the NBA, with the asterisk now because they lost the title this year, but the best regular season team. It's almost like you just saying, I'm going to just roll with the winning bunch and go get my ring. And like I said, if that's what you want to do, bro, I can't knock you for it. I just don't agree. I just don't agree with doing that. But Smitty makes a good point. If in fact, if Durant, and all of us are just speculating, but if he did do it because of the reasons that Smitty pointed out, how could you really deny that? You really can't, you can't really be mad if those are his reasons. But I just don't like the fact that it's the Golden State Warriors. Like, come on, man. Like, when you had these dudes buried, let them come back and beat you, and then you just run off and go be with them. I just don't like that situation. I guess my dream scenario, Smitty, would have been like maybe he go to OKC and say, listen, man, like what you said. I know this team is pretty much is not going to be the same in about a year or two. You guys give me a 1-year deal. We settle on that. I want to give it one last shot with Russell. If that don't work, then I become a free agent. I don't know. Maybe that won't even a possibility, but I would have loved to have seen that OKC team come back and go at it again. That would have made some very good competition, would have gave us a lot of suspense in the West, because, of course, let's not forget, everybody's thinking the Clippers had a chance when, but Blake and Chris Paul got hurt. So they could have been thrown in the mix again this coming season. Maybe I thought he would have went there. That would have been crazy if he would have went to the Clippers. But I don't know, man. Like I'm with you though, as far as I can't beat him up about it. I just don't agree with it. I just don't agree with that decision at all. I'm sorry. Not that team. That's my only beef. Like, I can't get past the fact that it's the Warriors. Like your arch nemesis of this past season. No. That's my only part of it, the weakness, if I said it looks weak. And like I said, I'm not going to call this man weak. But, you know what I mean? It just looks like, oh, man, you ain't give in and go to these boys. Like, no, don't do that. But, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. But definitely call us, man. We want to hear what you guys have to say as well. So, I don't know if that's going to be your initial topic, but definitely give us your thoughts on that. How do you feel about Kevin Durant, man? Was it whack? You hate it? Do you love it? Whatever the case may be. But let's go ahead and get 757 in first and get these calls rolling, give him his segment, and then, like I said, after that, we'll follow up with 205, and 267. So 757, we got you in. What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's going on?
I've been listening to the whole show, and we grew up in an era, most of us who are a little bit older, where people had morals and values, and everybody kind of looked out for everybody in whatever neighborhood or community that you lived in. Over the course from the mid-'80s, when crack came into the game, when social media came in the game, it stopped being about we and it started being about mine. We all have family members currently who are aunts that don't even talk to each other. But the elders, our grandmothers and our grandfathers, would never accept them doing it. We had a level of code that we lived by, whatever your family's code was. And we stopped that. We stopped it. We've allowed a lot of things to play out on social media that makes me want to throw up when I look through my Facebook feed and I see two young men fighting. And somebody's recording it. And somebody's getting their butt whipped. And everybody's laughing. Because it shows us, unfortunately, we look like a bunch of buffoons, man, that we don't give a damn about each other, so why should anybody else?
Right.
It made me want to throw up to see that brother die before our face. And for it to be plastered everywhere, for any of us to be able to see a moment when that man gets passed on. In both cases, whether it was Minnesota or whether it was Baton Rouge. Now, we can point fingers to all these leaders all we want to. I don't believe in none of them because none of them come to the hood on a consistent basis. It's very hard for me to ask the president what he going to do when, if he was to do anything, we haven't backed him the way we were supposed to. We fought like hell to get him in there. But he's been disrespected by some random lady pointing their finger at him, or him giving a speech to Congress and somebody standing up and calling him a liar. And we didn't have that same kind of energy. We're saying, no, you're not going to do him like that. We got a lot of people nowadays that's doing a whole lot of talking, but ain't about that action, boss. They ain't about that action.
Mm-hmm.
We should still be pissed off with what's going on. Not only with them killing us, but with us killing each other.
Yeah.
I talk to kids all the time. I got a company that created an orthopedic shoe for kids with disabilities, but I also have a background in psychology and early childhood development. And when I wasn't playing professional football, I was working with kids with conduct disorder, bipolar. And I still do it when I'm not working on the business and taking care of stuff, and I still go down and do volunteer with those kids. And they lost. They go to social media to learn how to shave, how to tie a tie.
Oh.
Normal stuff that we've been taught how to do. They just Google it or YouTube it. We don't have the same kind of conversations with kids that the neighborhoods and the OGs had with us. So we're all failing. If you ain't stopped the kid and had a conversation with him for 2 seconds when you know he on the corner and he doing something wrong and say, yo, brother, what's going on?
Yeah, man.
It's sickening that we even allow this dude to sit here on some website and just post a whole bunch of nonsense and bullshit. That we've become all love and hip hop. Man, that shit is madness.
Trash TV.
Yep.
And most of us got sons or got nephews, and we scared to death for them, man. And I stay in a real nice fucking neighborhood, and I'm still nervous. Now, any of us get stopped by a cop right now, we're going to be nervous, and we shouldn't be. So we should be taking better accountability for each other, and we should be making them held accountable for their actions. Because they ain't had to shoot him. They could have very easily, whether he was reaching or trying to breathe or whatever, he could have had his knee on his balls or anything. He could have told his partner clear. Instead of pulling out his gun, he could have pulled out his stun gun and shocked him and arrested him. We got to start caring before anybody else does. And that's the cold, hard truth, unfortunately. Because if we don't, something's going to make a certain level of us go the fuck off, and it's going to get real ugly.
That's the reality right there.
It's going to get real ugly. Because it's going to be something that causes us to go the hell off. And some of it's our fault, and some of us is based on how we're being treated. Because the person that we fought for 8 years to get in the office, what did we do with those 8 years he was in there? We didn't have no kind of agenda, no kind of focus, no kind of direction or anything. And we wasted that. We didn't vote on local government. So hell, even though we got the president, all the rest of the guys were Republicans, and we couldn't get a law passed if we wanted to, based on none of us went and voted on local government. Most of us didn't.
Very true.
So I just hope that we wake up and figure it out before it get ugly. Because there's a tension in the air between African Americans, police, and white folks that we don't want to talk about, but it's there, unfortunately. And the way that social media is set up, that these cats can say certain things and put it into the universe and just stir it apart that much more. Because all this marching and holding up signs and all that, man, that's going to stop in a minute. And it's going to get real scary if that day ever happens. I just hope that we figure it out, man. Right? Because we have a deep-rooted thing in the United States of America that we've never really truly dealt with, is that African Americans came over here and we were slaves to another race. Period. Point blank. That's in our fabric. That's in Americans' DNA. Now, I'm not saying that, white people are bad, and da-da-da-da. I talk to them all the time. Half of them, got a bunch of them working for me. But until we start understanding what that really did to us and to them, then we'll always have this level of ugly silence that rears its ugly head when a white cop kills a black man. And I'm going to leave it there with that. As far as the rant, fellas, listen, I played professional football, man. That locker room, that togetherness, we're a team. Let me tell you something. It's all bullshit. They tell you in high school. Team. They tell you in college, team. When you get to the pros, man, I had a rude awakening about individuality with your play versus team play. It is not what we think it is. Some teams can cohesively get it together and genuinely like each other and genuinely catch lightning in the bottle. But for the most part, man, half of those guys after practice, they go home and they go in their own individual circles and their own individual places, and they don't even talk really unless it's at practice. We don't know what the conversation was between him and Russell. Russell said, man, I'm out.
Right.
You can sign, but I'm telling you, I'm not staying. Guys now signing these big contracts, they doing these endorsement deals, and they're thinking about their money, they're thinking about their endorsements, they're thinking about their brand. And I can't really fault them for that. Because when it's over, man, it's over. When your body just can't do it no more, it's a wrap. And we can get on Kevin Durant, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it when he left Milwaukee and went to L.A.
True.
Barkley did it. A bunch of guys did it. Whether you 23 or 33, you did whatever what needed to do, what you felt you needed to do to win. He's just doing it a little early. So if I'm going to leave and go to a team, I'm going to give myself the best percentage to win. What the hell am I going to go to Chicago the Clippers? I'm going to go where I know I got the best shot. Now, you can boo and hiss and do all of that. For the first time in his life, that brother was selfish and said, I'm going to do something for Durant. He said that. I'm going to be selfish this time. He's from Maryland. He didn't even necessarily want to go to the University of Texas. But Texas and D.C. has a connection. You go look at Texas roster over the last 15 years, you'll be surprised how many guys from D.C. played on the football team and the basketball team. He might have wanted to go to Carolina. But based on the relationship, he went ahead and went there. I'm not very like, is you like, God, dog, they need no more firepower. He just gave himself the best opportunity to win, man. He did. He's building his brand. He's doing what he got to do. We don't even know if the doctor told him, bro, you ain't got but about 4 more years on that ankle or that foot. We don't know what that conversation been about with the doctors. Like, yo, eventually you're going to have surgery again, and you might not be the same after that. Those conversations go on behind closed doors that we don't know about. So he said, if I'm going to go out and I ain't got but much time left, let me go with what I know or what's going to get me the opportunity to get me at least one. That's how I look at that, man. The NBA had a lot of money to throw around to a lot of guys who didn't deserve it, and they had to spend that money. Just imagine how much money they're making if they can get those guys a $60 million contract, $80 million contract, $120 million contract. Come on, man. Those NBA guys making money hand over fist. So is the National Football League. So is baseball. Them new endorsement deal contracts are crazy. So that's how I feel about it, man. Get yours while you can get it. Do any of us really like it? But do I understand it? Yes, totally. Because that stuff that they be talking on those press conferences about team and togetherness and all that, man, is bull crap. Because the moment that he blows a knee out and he's not the same guy, trust and believe, they're going to ship his ass to Milwaukee.
Yep. I mean, pretty much.
And fellas, I'm gonna leave it there, man. I appreciate everything. Looking forward to man, but this ain't about a man conversation. This is just reality that's hitting us right now. And I just hope that we all get it together. And that's why I text you, Sim. That's why I holler at Smitty. That's why I holler at AZ. Because we, in VA, man, I don't know, man, we just come from a different fabric. Man, we see murder. I had murder in my own home. So I know it firsthand, man. My dad tried to kill me and my family. So I know what it is to see it and to be a part of it. But it's no excuse. I didn't allow that to make me be this angry black guy. I use it for fuel. I use it to say I'm going to make sure that I treat my children better than my dad treated me. And I make sure every little kid that I come in contact with, if any little thing that I can help him out with, I'm going to help him out with because I had a village that helped me. And I'm going to leave it there, fellas. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, man. Wow. Powerful. That was a powerful segment right there, especially that last part. And you know, the crazy thing is, man, like he said, you know, a lot of us have been around a lot of these things. I haven't had it that extreme, which, you know, is crazy, but I'm glad to see that it didn't break him. You know, he went on to be the best man he can be, and he's still on that path. Because as long as he's walking around on this earth, I'm sure he's the type of dude that's trying to be the best he can be. But it's crazy, man. This is probably the realest show that we've ever had. And sometimes it needs that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I seen a guy today tell me, he said, man, I appreciate you using your platform to, you know, address that type of issue. And you know what my response was? I'm supposed to. Because that's the type of dude I am. If I could reach people, or I could use, you know, my little influence to get people to keep open their eyes and see what's going on and talk about real life situations, that's what I'm going to do. That's the, you know, the kind of cloth I'm cut from. And I don't care about the backlash. You know, if somebody gets mad or somebody unsubs, because y'all know that situation too, with the whole YouTube thing and Cookie Boy, and that's
man, that's
crazy.
wild. Yeah,
just crazy. But I don't care. You know, it ain't important. What's important is for me to reach at least one person. That's what I'm here for. You know, so I guess we can move on, man. Smith, there ain't much more to say after that message. That was outstanding. So let's go ahead and grab 205 again. Let me give y'all the rundown. 205. After that, 267. And I believe after that, Neff 1. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get all three of you guys in, and then, you know, we'll address the remaining topics after that and take other calls after that. 205. We got you in, man. Smitty will hit you with your reply. What's up?
Pretty good. How y'all guys?
Good, man.
Man, watching the outcome of the last 24 hours, it's just really saddening, sickening, heartbreaking for me to see this kind of stuff. I mean, it really hits home after a while. We've been through this since, it's gone on for years and years, but it's hard growing up, man, because I remember being a kid, and, you know, the worst thing I worried about is if I did something and the neighbors seen it, tell my mom or my parents, and I get my butt tore up going home, man. You know, I never worried about if I was going to make it home, you know. But nowadays, I just look at the kids and stuff, and I wonder what kind of world there's going to be in the next 15, 20 years. I mean, it's hard to comprehend this stuff. The people that we pay our taxes to that's supposed to protect our younger generation is out here killing them. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're black, red, white, blue, green, purple. That don't mean anything. What that cop done, or what these two gentlemen, these police officers have done, they committed murder. Point blank, period. They've committed murder. I don't care what anybody says. And the fact of the matter is, like, I'm watching the news when I get off work, and they suspended these police officers with pay. And the thing that's going to happen, which nobody's even talking about, which it's bad enough what's happened, but these people are going to end up getting fired from their job, but they're going to go home with a big fat paycheck to keep their mouth shut, because that's exactly what's going to happen. That's what's happened in the last other cases. You don't hear from any of those cops, but guess what? They either kept their job or they got paid to keep their mouth shut and got kicked off the force. That's not fair. That's not justice. That's wrong. And everybody talks about, well, the government should take care of it. The government doesn't care about you or me or anybody else. Look at the people we got running for president. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are two of the worst politicians or even choices we have. I mean, it's best. The best thing we got is to pick the worst of the two evils. It's wrong. What is wrong with this country? I mean, I don't care what color you are. Sim, Smitty, AZ, y'all know I don't care about race like that. I don't care about all that stuff. But when it's in our own backyard, we're supposed to take care of each other. And it's wrong. It's wrong. Period. It makes me sick to think where this country's gone from. I thought that, when we broke the civil rights barrier, I thought we could, I thought we were supposed to do better than this. What is Martin Luther King and all these people that died for us to have a better life that we all could get along? What are they thinking now? Because we failed them. We have. Whether we like it or not, we failed them. Because we don't stand up for anything. All these little movements we've had in the last few years have done nothing. I mean, just look at, if you go back to Missouri at the college and the whole thing, so what? You got rid of the AD. How much has changed since then? People going on hunger strikes and everything like this, it's wrong. And, I look at the, just the Kevin Durant situation. I know what you said, Sim, was that you agreed with Stephen A. Smith, but I'm going to just say this. I don't really agree with Stephen A. Smith because if you look at what he's done, not that he, is an athlete, but look what he did in his own profession, leaving Philadelphia to go to the biggest company. There's no loyalty when it comes to money. So at the end of the day, how can you judge Kevin Durant? He's out there trying to do what's best for him. I can't get mad at him for that. I mean, Charles Barkley said, what he said, but look, he went over to Houston trying to get a ring and still failed. If he would have won a ring, would he have came out and said the things he said? Probably not. And I know a lot of people say, well, if you were so great, you would bring players to you. At the end of the day, people don't realize this by now. Most of the guys that's in the NBA, they're all friends, and they want to play with their friends and try to win rings with them. Think about it. The early 2000s when this all kind of started happening, the Big Three was in Boston, and they only got one ring out of it. Look at Miami; they only got 2 rings, and they had all this talent. And you can't blame Kevin Durant for trying to get one. And a lot of people talk about loyalty. Look at what Bosh did. He took a $98 million contract to stay in Miami, and I'm sorry to say, but Bosh isn't that great. He don't deserve $98 million in my opinion. But he got that. So how can I say anything about it? And a lot of people, they hated LeBron James when he left Cleveland. I'm not a LeBron James hater. I don't care what the man does. The biggest thing that ever gets me is when people try to compare him to Jordan. You can't. I mean, they played in 2 different eras and 2 different times. We'll never know who was the best between them because they're never going to play each other. I could always say Jordan's the best. In my opinion, I grew up, and, I still believe Jordan is the best, but that's my opinion. These kids see what they see these days, and they probably believe it's either LeBron or Steph Curry. So, it is all by your own judgment, what you grew up loving. We grew up loving a different era of football, a different era of basketball, a different era of baseball, and all these things. But I just wanted to leave it at that. Y'all all stay safe out there. I guess we'll just have to pray for each other and make it day by day. And peace.
Go ahead, Smitty. Well, thanks for the call. I didn't know if I was taking it to you or my bad. But yeah, thanks for the call, man. I mean, like always, man, the KD thing, man, these guys, and like you said, they are friends, and they want to compete and everything. I mean, look, we grew up in an era where competition was king. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, of course you're going to hear Barkley say what he said, you know, and act like, oh, he's so carefree about rings. But obviously he cared a lot about getting a ring because he tried to get one. Otherwise, he would have stayed in Phoenix. You see what I'm saying? So obviously he cared about getting that ring, and he went back on that belief, and he tried to team up and get that ring. Jordan, and you know, I was talking about this with VF the other day, just to go off his point real quick, that he when he talked about LeBron and all that, saying, you know, I would never hit up Larry Bird and Magic and say, hey, let's team up and all that. In hindsight, he says that, but of course he's saying that. He won 6. If he never won a ring, I bet you he would have left Chicago.
Right.
He probably would have went somewhere. And if he didn't win a ring, if he didn't win, he would be talking just like Charles. Oh, you just try to get it on your own, blah, blah, blah. And of course he's going to say that because you failed. You couldn't get it done. So of course he would say that. That's why when you see all these big 3 matchups, the funny thing is you hear nobody talk smack about KG and Ray Allen going to Boston, because those dudes were basically burnt, you know, they basically ran all the treads off their tires, and they were at the latter part of their careers, and, well, I should say the twilight of their prime, and got together right before it was too late and had their few chances, and they got one. Now, if those brothers seen together when they was 25, 26 years old and all that, oh, man, people would have been going crazy. So that is true. They're friends. They buddy up, and they have mutual respect, and they team up with each other. It shouldn't be this big old strange happening, but, you know, it's, you know, like I said, we all have our own perception of how things go with this stuff. From a fan perspective, we want to see old school ball, but, you know, that's just not the way it is now. So, but yeah, no, great call like always, man.
Yeah, man. And, you know, you can't be mad at him, man. You know, like I said, my only beef was I hate the fact that it's Golden State just after those circumstances. But as far as teaming up, man, whatever. I mean, like you said, in some shape or form, it's really make a wonderful point there. Would Jordan have left Chicago if he had not been winning? That is a very good point that nobody will ever know. But you got to ask yourself that. All right, so let's grab 267. We got you in the queue. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Just want to touch on a couple topics, man. Just hearing about the recent killings, and I say I tweeted you earlier, and I said, Sim, you should have more topics about this, whether it became a channel or you just did a dedicated day. But it's sad to see, man, because we are going into another president election, and you have a guy in Donald Trump, and like 205 just said, and Hillary Clinton. I mean, come on. I mean, are we really trusting these people again? Because politicians are the biggest crooks. If you haven't noticed, they are the biggest crooks. You know, and even touching on our black leaders, man, well, so-called black leaders, I should say. I don't believe in Al Sharpton. I don't believe in Farrakhan. Those guys are clowns. Al Sharpton only shows up when something happens. You understand what I'm saying? And then by his track record, he gets booed out of hoods. You understand what I'm saying? But a guy like J. Cole can go to a rally and get love. You understand what I'm saying? Because J. Cole, as an artist, he's more perceived to be in the hood, even though that's not really his background. But he's from the hood. He's an African American. You understand what I'm saying? So he knows how it is, and he knows the struggle. When those guys got their money and they got paid, they left. They didn't care. You understand what I'm saying? Our true, real leaders left when MLK passed away, and also Malcolm X. Okay, because those guys stood for something. They stood for dignity in our black community. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have no problem with other races or anything like that. You understand what I'm saying? But when we're talking about us as folks, we are the ones that's targeted. You know, it's funny. You know, I just got stopped maybe 2 weeks ago in my car, broad daylight. I'm talking about broad daylight, summertime. I'm driving. Cop stopped me at a stop sign. He didn't know. Matter of fact, he didn't even stop me. I pulled up to a stop sign, then I proceeded because I know I stopped. I'm like, why this boy whipping his car around? He turned his lights on. I'm thinking he got a car on his walking. He ready to zoom past me. He zoomed up right behind me. I'm like, yo, cuz. I pull the car over. You understand what I'm saying? Thank God my daughter wasn't in the car. Dude come to the window like, yeah, is this your car? Yeah. You got license registration? Yeah. Well, let me see your license. I'm so nervous, and I shouldn't have to be nervous. I go to work. I take care of my child. I take care of my responsibility. I shouldn't have to be nervous. My hand's on the wheel. I'm like, can I go get my license? Yeah, you can get your license. I'm like, well, can you step back? Because, you know, I don't, you understand what I'm saying? I don't want
right.
understanding. You understand what I'm saying? Can you step back away from my vehicle a little bit? Because I don't want no misunderstanding. I went and reached for my license, and he said, well, can I take your license? I said, no, you can see it right here. And I showed him my license. And he asked for it again. I said, you know what? Something told me to just go ahead and give him the license. Okay, and I'm going to tell you at the end of the story what he stopped me for. So I gave him my license. He goes, run my license, run my tag, everything come back cool. I take the license, I put it back in my glove. And he like, well, I stopped you because your light was out. Huh? My lights automatically cut on in the car when the sun goes down, okay? Bruh, what are you talking about? It's broad daylight outside. It's two cars in front of me at the stop sign. Two cars in front of me. But yet you don't stop them. You stop me? Okay, officer, have a nice day. You understand what I'm saying? It's so crazy. It's so crazy because the fall of America is at its peak. The fall of America is at its peak. And for all the African Americans, listen, I don't know nobody for what they want to do. But for you guys out there voting for Donald Trump, I seen a video on YouTube. An African-American guy arguing with a bunch of Mexicans. Yeah, they were ignorant, they were rude and belligerent. But at the same time, do you know what this guy stands for? It blows my mind, man. It blows my mind. This dude is endorsed by the KKK. And tried to lie and say he has no ties with them guys. Come on, man. This is the guy y'all want to put in presidency? I have an employee. I have a coworker. Okay, I have a coworker that talks about, and he's an African American talking about let's make America great again. And I just say, wow. And you from the hood in Brooklyn? You from Brooklyn? And you talking like that? Wow. You understand what I'm saying? The buffoonery, man. It pisses me off, and it's so sad because I don't have a problem with young fellas. Look, if you got beef, you want to scrap it out. I'd rather you scrap it out with your fist than pull a strap. You understand what I'm saying? That's the we used to do back in the day. My partners would tell me, yo, listen, if you got to defend yourself, you defend yourself. After that, win or lose, draw, you coming home. You understand what I'm saying? That's the way it was back in the day. Now everybody trained to go get a gun. You understand what I'm saying? And then half of these fools, because I'm trained in armed security and law enforcement, half of these dudes pull a strap and turn it to the side because they see it in don't be a menace. Like, yo, come on, cuz. This is not that's not even the way that you handle a gun. You understand what I'm saying? So it's no, I mean, just even seeing when a little girl just passed away from shooting herself in the face. Gun safety, the ignorance of our people. Yo, man, we got to get better, man. Look, I don't mean to bring religion into this, but, man, my Lord and Savior is who I keep my peace in. So my thing is, when I look at my daughter's 4 years old, I say, damn, in 10 years, man, I'll be damn near 40.
Right.
I'll be damn near 40. I'm looking at my daughter like, man, you be 14. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this is crazy. What is the world going to be like, man? What is our kids going to have to go through? I'm saying to myself, damn, do I want to have more kids? I don't want to put them through this. We're looking at everything, everything else. We fall victim to being blinded by video games, being blinded by Jordans. I mean, people kill each other over Jordans. I mean, seriously, Jordans came out in the 90s when I was growing up, cuz. I mean, come on, seriously. The sneakers ain't doing nothing but being remastered. Hey, don't get it twisted.
Yep.
Don't get it twisted. I buy them, but I'm not shooting nobody for them. I'm not waiting in line for them. So my thing is this. At the end of the day, Michael Jordan's not going to pay your bills, okay? He's not going to make sure you got food on your table. So don't worry about being and keeping up with the next. Let's focus on becoming stronger as people, as one, not just black people, but as a people in general. Yeah, we got work to do with ourselves, but when you look at the Chinese folks and the Vietnamese folks, when they come over here, they don't have to pay taxes for 5 years. Those people, what they do for the first 2.5, you might see the first couple faces in the store. They the regulars. Yo, Sue, let me get a chicken wing platter with fries. Next thing you know, 2 years later, you're like, yo, where's Sue at? They changed the whole crew. You want to know why? Because they're keeping it they're keeping the business in the family. So what they do is they'll take those people, make their money, send them back to their country, then they'll send more people over to go open up more stores. So those people that go back home, they bring over new people and open up more spots. They take that money back home with them. They don't have to pay taxes for 5 years. You want to know how I know this? Because I got a buddy that's from China. His family owned a restaurant. He told me what they do. So my thing is, it's sad to say, man, but like I said, we just have to get better, man. Stop being blinded by all the media. Stop getting caught up in this nonsense, man, because lives are being lost. Lives are being lost. And, man, people don't take life serious no more, man. And it's sad, man. But, look, man, man, I don't even know what to say, man. Y'all dudes have a good night, man. Seriously. Be safe out here, man. It's crazy.
Man, you be safe as well, man. Great call.
Man.
I'm telling you, this is the realest show that we have ever had on Sim Standard Radio. Some will enjoy it. Some probably will cut it off. But, hey, it needs to be said. So we're going to keep it rocking, man. We're going to grab the next call, area 253. Small break after that, and we'll address another topic. And then we'll answer the next call, which is 936-253, Nef1. What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas? What's up? Yeah, I've been listening to shows. One of the better shows I've heard, just being serious. Because I grew up in that Malcolm X, Martin Luther King era, fresh off the heels of that. And as you know, that's when the Crips and Bloods kind of broke off that Panther mentality. And, I don't want to go through the whole story. Look on YouTube and find out. But I was involved with that when I was young. My relatives were involved. We formed our own little sets, our own little neighborhood gang to protect ourselves. And, this is the guy that doesn't want people to know about his life and, privacy. You know how I am about when I do stuff. I don't want people to know a whole lot, especially you, Sim. I talk to you all the time about that. But this is one time I can't hold back. I grew up in a gang. My cousins, we all grew up in gangs. We all grew up in neighborhoods. And, I'm not going to say what side I was on because there ain't no reason to go through all that. Let's just say, you ride or died back when we were in South Central L.A., West Los Angeles. We roamed those streets for a long time. My problem was I was trying to be the best gang member I could possibly be. I wanted to be the best. I was trying to inspire myself to just be the meanest kid in the neighborhood. But eventually something changed my life. Me and my cousin just walked into the store, playing catch in the park. And we decided to go to the store just to get something to drink real quick. And I'll never forget when I heard a pop go right by my ear, and I saw my cousin drop. And I'm sitting there like, what happened? I'm looking around. I heard another pop, and it went by my ear again. So I'm running. I couldn't even help him, but as the police said, he was dead before he hit the ground. That's how they shot him. We just go in the store. 2 kids at 13, 14 years old go in the store. And so I got back home and told my brother, who was a shot caller of the set, and I went to him and I said, hey, they just shot our cousin. and, we got to do something. So we were about to strap up and go get some payback. But what happened was, and I don't know why this happened, but I thank God every day that it did. My brother didn't let me go. He told me to stay home. And I was furious. I'm like, wait, I was right there. I saw him drop and hit the ground, and you want me to stay home? I want to get back at these guys. But he would not let me go. For some odd reason, he told me to stay home. So they went back, got some payback. I'm not going to go into that story. But let's just say we never got shot at again, at least in that area. But the point is, when he told me to stay home, I got a conversation in with my dad and mom. And me and my dad were always kind of strained because, we had some issues when I was young. But he sat there and talked to me like a man, not like a kid or not like a child, a man. And he said, you can either join your cousin because of what you're representing, or you can go another way and have, a life that you really want. And, when you're 13, 14, you don't think about anything. This man's crazy. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. I know better than him. Well, long story short, I'm here today talking to you because if I wasn't taking his advice, I'd be with my cousin right now. You all know that. You grew up in the streets. You know what it's all about. When you go get payback, eventually someone's going to pay you back. So that's what we have nowadays. Kids' parents don't talk to them enough. They just let them go out and do their thing. And they blame society about, my kids don't get a break like all the other kids. Well, if you sat there and talked to them with some common sense, these kids would either, some of them are going to listen. Not all of them, but some are going to listen. I mean, an experience like that where you see one of your best friend's cousin, your cousin is your best friend, drop in front of you for senselessness, after I look back on it today, it was over nothing. We just walked into the store. We didn't do nothing to nobody. But we represented something that they didn't like. So to carry that on, and I'm not going to go any further in that story because it's really a painful story, and I don't want to keep going there. But to carry on to what you guys talk about in basketball, I'm switching gears real quick. I didn't really want Kevin Durant to come to the Warriors. I'll be honest. I'm a Warrior fan. I think we could have just done without him. I think we could have keep building from within and don't get rid of our young players to bring him in. We could have got somebody at a younger age and develop them and develop a few players because that's how you keep winning. You get people in your system and you keep developing and teaching, and they'll catch on or they won't. You bring another one in. But for one, I'm not upset that he came there, but I didn't think we needed him. I'm just going to be honest. I just didn't see that we really needed him. We were one game away from winning the best record ever in a championship. So, that's just my opinion. And I am a Warrior fan for life. I've been one for years. So, as far as Donald Trump and whoever, Clinton woman, I pay less attention to them as much as possible. I paid way less attention to them. They're both nuts. If that's where our country is going, and people like that, then there's no hope anyway. I mean, what are they going to do? When they become president, they're going to make so many stupid laws and rules that it's going to affect everybody, everywhere, not just us. But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know about that story. I don't usually talk about my family history or, things like that. But, I think it's a parent's duty to talk to their kids. I talk to my daughter every day about everything. She's 13, and I don't want her getting out there and making the mistakes I made. You can't beat your kids into doing right, but you can talk to them into doing right. So I'll leave it at that, and I'm out.
Wow. Amazing call, man. I tell you, Smitty, man, we're gonna have to change the name of this show soon. But man, that's real right there. That's crazy. And you know what's crazy, man? The common denominator is a lot of us have either been involved in stuff or know those who, you know what I mean, like real close. Like there's so many stories I could tell that I don't, and maybe I'll start doing that on YouTube. But to give you a real quick one of my closest friends is currently doing life plus 53 years. Imagine about how long that is. And I know 757 is still on here. This is when I was still in VA. For murder. And this was like one of my homeboys. You know what I mean? But the reason why I say all of that is because a lot of us have either been involved with stuff and we saw the light, or we know people. You see what I'm saying? And it's living proof that just because of, you know, how you man came up, it don't mean that you got to turn out a certain way. You always got a decision. You know, the smart ones are able to get themselves away from certain things or change their lives. Did you hear what Ness just said? He didn't say, oh, yeah, I knew. No. He said, I was. This is what I did. You understand what I'm saying? These people was my homeboy. So that should already let y'all know I was out there. You know what I mean? Like I was out there. I was doing me. Now I ain't got no body on me or nothing like that. You know, I'll definitely let y'all know that. I ain't murked nobody. But I'm just saying, I was in the street. And these are the type of people that I was with that's locked up for real crime. But, you know, I'm a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I live a regular life. I don't harm nobody. Nobody harm me. I like to consider myself to be intelligent. I'm very friendly. You know, that kind of stuff is in the past. You know, you let that go when you get to a certain point. The smart ones realize this ain't it. This ain't the road. This was the dirt I was born and raised in. But what happens when I take a shower? Figure that one out. But yeah, man, let's go kick it off to a lighter topic, man. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. We do got 2 callers that's in the queue. We're gonna hit you guys right after the first topic. We won't go into the next one because we probably won't even have time. But I love the way the show is going. But we don't want it to be too down. You know, we want to mix in some gaming talk or, you know, sports news, and then we'll grab 936 after that, as well as 314. So, Smitty, man, how you feel about D. Wade? You know, just my quick opinion about it. I feel like they could have taken care of him a little better than that, man. I mean,
yeah.
Now, I made a quick video about it, and, you know, I'll keep it short and sweet because I definitely want to give these guys who are calling some time. I just feel like a guy of that caliber, he should have ended up like a Kobe Bryant. He should have been the next guy who was so, you know, born and raised in the Miami Heat, so to speak. You know, he start with them, end with them. I think he would have been a perfect guy to carry that torch like Kobe did. You know, it's crazy. I don't think we ever going to see that again. 20 years in one place. But I would have loved to at least see somebody like that came from that time period back then, stick it out. You know, I hoped LeBron would have done that before he went to Miami. And it kind of upset me when he went to Miami, not because he was really teaming up. That's just the thing that people do now, and we know there's money and stuff involved in that, and all of the points you made were absolutely valid about Durant. But because he was Cleveland, well, not a Cleveland, so, you know, he's from Akron, you know, semi-close to Cleveland, but because he's an Ohio native, maybe this would be the guy that would just always stay at Cleveland and get them a championship, and the story would have been so much sweeter. It's great that he went back. But I want to see another guy stick it out. It even hurt me when AI left, man. You know, me being a Sixers fan, but I understood what that was about. But I would have loved to, as much as he loved Philly too, like most people don't know that. That's where he wanted to go since back in the day, since young. It hurt him to leave. I wish he would have retired at Sixers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought D. Wade could have been that guy, man, and I think Miami kind of did him a little dirty, in my opinion. I know he's a little older, and I know, you know, he's had some injuries and things like that, but he played well last year, and I think he got a few years left in him. I think they could have found a happy medium, man. I just kind of feel like they left him out in the cold. This guy has brought 3 championships to your organization. You know, like, come on, man. D. Wade is Miami. I've been hearing a lot of people that's from Miami say that. Like, this guy is probably the most revered athlete they've ever had in South Beach, even more than, like, a Dan Marino. I was like, wow. So a guy like that, you can't let him walk like that. And the last thing I would say, man, kind of just summarizing my video, I think he went to Chicago just because. He's from there. You know there ain't no contender. I think he just was like, whatever. You know, I'm sick and tired of what y'all trying to do. I'm going to go over here and play from my hometown. for however long I'm going to be here, and just put that under my resume. Forget y'all. Because he didn't, he ain't try to go to no contender. He probably could have went to Cleveland. That's what the rumor was. So to me, that indicates that he just was fed up with them. And I think they did him dirty. Maybe not all the way their fault, but I just think it was a little dirty, man. What you think, Smitty?
Yeah, I mean, they could have, they could have hooked him up because, I mean, they were talking like they were going to get him, they were going to cover him on the back end. You know what I'm saying? You do this deal, whatever, we got you covered. You know what I'm saying? Just hold it down for us. I'm like, he held it down long enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point are you going to honestly, give this guy the bread he earned? And he wouldn't give it to him. So he went somewhere where he could get the money. I mean, he wasn't about to go to Denver. That was out the question. But then he did get the bread, from Chicago. So, and I mean, yeah, he went to his hometown, so it just made sense. But, I mean, outside of that, they kind of did they did him dirty. It's dirty to an extent, but at the same time, it's like you got to realistically pay him based off of what he's honestly going to be able to provide. You see what I'm saying? Like, it was the same deal like when Ben Wallace was here. And when he had left, like Chicago gave him $62 million. We offered him like 42. Well, Joe Dumars, they offered him 40 or 42 million. And and a lot of people were upset because it was like, oh, you should have paid him for what he did before as well. So you should have matched the deal. And I didn't necessarily agree with it because I'm like, he's not going to give us that primetime ball like that. And as we all saw, he fell off. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much fell to obscurity after that. And I mean, he came back, but that was after his contract and everything was bought out. So, but yeah, but that's pretty much how I feel on it. Nothing drastic in terms of that. There is something I do feel drastic about, but I'll talk about that if we get a chance.
All right, I look forward to that. So let's give these guys some time. Check. We have 36 minutes. We got 2 calls. Definitely, if we can, I want to try to tackle the last topic in regards to the sliders and Madden, and then also hear from what Smitty has to say. I think we got enough time, so let me stop talking and grab 936. Smitty will get your reply. I'll catch the next reply, which is area 314. 936, we got you in. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Smitty, AZ, Sim, hope you guys are doing well tonight, man.
Oh, yeah,
man.
Good, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I want to make a really quick point about the Chicago Bulls, and I'll transition briefly into something else. But I disagreed with a point that Stephen A. Smith made today, and I want you guys to weigh in on it. You probably know basketball better than I do, but the Chicago Bulls now have a backcourt of Rajon Rondo and Dwayne Wade. You got to assume that they're going to play Butler at the 3 spot as a small forward. A lot of teams in the NBA are playing small ball. Stephen A. Smith said that team would be surprised to make the playoffs. When you consider how soft the Eastern Conference is, I got to say I disagree with that. It doesn't surprise me if that team is in the 4 or 5 slot in the East. They seem to be a pretty potent basketball team. With that backcourt with Wade and Butler, I don't think we've seen Butler's best basketball yet, man. He's incredible. And I think with Rajon Rondo, heaven forbid he regains some of his old form. I think this basketball team could be really good. Yeah. But I'll also say this, man. It's really good that you guys are talking about what you are tonight, and it's off topic compared to the usual. But it is a discussion that needs to be had in a civil tone, like this show has been doing it. Because you think about it, both from the standpoint of the media and the politicians, those two entities do well when they divide people. Partisan politics plays on, if I get my sectionalized group riled up, then they'll go to the voting booth and pull a lever for me. The media wants to create ratings, and nothing creates ratings better than conflict. But at some point, we've got to figure out as people how to transcend those elements and just talk to each other and realize that we have a real problem on our hands. Because, Sim and I were talking about this earlier today on Twitter. Either way you cut it, anybody's word that you take. We don't know the facts. We don't know everything that happened. But the ordeal in Falcon Heights, Minnesota today was inexcusable. Either way you cut it. We just have to realize that we can do better than that. So thank you, guys. Keep doing your thing. I'll talk to you again in a few weeks. Oh, yeah.
No, thanks for the call, man. And, what I'll say is, as far as the Wade thing, the Bulls, I don't know about that, man. I think, if anything, I think the Bulls may be, I wouldn't go that high. I think that's too high. You're being generous to them. I think they'll be, at best, probably a 4. I mean, not a 4 seed, probably a 7 seed. Between 7 and 8 seed, honestly, because, Rondo is not a scoring threat at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're going to have to worry about him. He's not a true scoring threat. Declining D Wade, and you got Lopez, and you got Jimmy Butler over there. So they'll give you something, but I don't think it's going to be what people may expect as far as full-blown production. So, but then, yeah, man, of course, talking about these real-world issues, man, this is an open platform to discuss, man. And we, this is some real stuff that's got to be discussed at times. And it's all about, having mature discussions on all levels regarding all things at times. So, yeah, man, but we greatly appreciate you calling, man, most definitely.
Absolutely. Outstanding call, man. And, Smitty answered it very well. Only little piece I would add to it before I grab 314 is I kind of agree with both of y'all. I'm taking the easy way out, but you never know in the East. If, on the premise of defense, Jimmy Butler playing out of his mind, Dwayne Wade playing a little bit like last year, Rondo being a pure point guard, you never know. Smitty makes great points, too. What Rondo are we going to see? The last couple of years, this guy's been everything from frustrated to quitting on the team. I don't know. But I'm going to jump between you guys and say I'll put him at about a 6, maybe a 6, possible 5. You never know. But in the East, you never know. You catch lightning and you can go all the way to the top. But, yeah, man, great call. We appreciate it. Here as well as the Twitter, we appreciate it. And let me say this, guys, before we grab 314, maybe, man, if y'all want to, we could set shows aside and just have these discussions. We can have some of you guys come on and we'll talk about real world things. I'm down for that. Maybe a Google Hangout situation with some of you guys. Whatever y'all want to do, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing more than just what I'm doing. People keep telling me that. I'm feeling that way, so we'll see what happens there. But Area 314, we got you in. What you got for us, man?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Hope you're having a good day.
Yeah, what's going on?
I'm a police officer in St. Louis. Been doing it for 17 years. And what it comes down to communication. As a police officer, if I pull you over, I come to your house, I'm the police. Therefore, I don't have to yell at you or anything like that. So as a grown man, you shouldn't stand for that. I have to respect you just as much as I want you to respect me. And the reason I bring it up because you'll hear a lot of people that's pro-police. They'll say, well, if they just listen to what the police say, none of this will happen. Well, it's somewhat true, but it's how you say it. You're a grown man. I can't come to you and just order you and make you do something. Now, if you're 14, 15 years old, I may be able to get away with that. But as an adult, I can't make you sit down. I can't make you shut up. I shouldn't talk to you like that. And you're not going to stand for that. That's why you get so much resistance. I guarantee you, if I was to ask you, can you do this? If I was to explain to you why I'm doing this, more than likely, you'll cooperate. There's no doubt in my mind because it's been proven. You know, and in saying that, a lot of times we disrespect people, and they remember that. Quick story. Like I've been doing it for 17 years. I think I may have had 3 years on the police department. I'm out with my family. A guy come up to me, he say, "Excuse me, officer, you arrested me." Had no idea this guy was behind me. Had no idea he had been watching me. Now, if I was a complete idiot to this guy, he could have blew my head out. He could have beat the hell out of me, anything. But we forget that sometimes. You know, this badge, this gun, this can only protect you so much. Because my philosophy is, if a person can whoop me without this, when I got this badge and this gun on, they can do it when I don't have it on. So, and I think it was Smitty, he made a good point. A lot of these guys are just scared, man. First thing you want to resort to is that gun. And I understand deadly force. I understand it 100%. What happened in Louisiana, it was unfortunate. You know, but me understanding it, just because I can do it, doesn't mean I have to. There's so many other the ways that you can get out of a situation. One of the biggest ways is just retreat. In that situation, you know he's got a gun. He's on the ground. He can't shoot from his back. And even if he could, more than likely he would have missed. Retreat. Get a guy the opportunity. You know, he could have been, he might have tossed the gun. We don't know what could have happened. But if he'd have pointed it at you or something like that, then use a deadly force. But just because you can, because he's got a gun, now I don't know the laws in Louisiana, but I know what the Supreme Court said. But just because they say one thing, you have to kill him honestly. You know, and that's my thing. And it could be just me being naive. Like I say, I've never had to pull my gun out. Hopefully, I don't have to pull it out. I've been shot at. But they're scared. There's no excuse, and I'll never make excuses for them. But I think it was Smitty hit it right on the head. A lot of them, they just scared, which is no excuse. They have to talk. A lot of them, they don't know how to deal with blacks or minorities, period. And their interpretation is what they see on TV. All of us are not like that. And unfortunately, a lot of police officers, they don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be looked at as racist. They don't want to be outcast. But that hurts us because in any profession you do, you're gonna deal with like-minded people. So if you got a group of racists on a police department, that's who they're going to deal with, meaning they're going to talk, they're going to have the same thoughts. My thing is talk. If you don't understand something about me, ask me. I won't get offended by it. Ask me. But that's all I want to say. I just want to get that off my chest because I really appreciate you all opening this up for us to talk about it.
Hey, man,
So
but before you go, I have a quick question if you're still there before you go. I mean, I know you can't go so far with answering this question, but, you know, why do you think, just in your experience, why do you think some of the police, white or black, are not respectful? You know, because sometimes they're just aggressive. But so in your experience, as far as what you see in various departments, can you get a gauge on why you think some of these guys just come off disrespectful instead of being more respectful?
Because once we get this badge and once we get this gun, and you may not understand it because you're not a police, it's a lot of power,
right,
man. A lot of power.
Right.
And it's more power than what people don't understand because when people love us, they love us. When they hate us, they hate us. So we get to a point where a lot of times, you can scare people. So it gets to the point where we get the big head, and I say we because I'm a part of the law enforcement community. We get the big head. Therefore, we feel like, well, you're going to respect me whether I respect you or not. So it all comes down to the fact that it's that power thing. It's that ego. Law enforcement is predominantly male. So when you add that to the fact that you got a badge, and if you have an ego already, that just hinders it. And again, a lot of people, they'll, and I can only speak for St. Louis, but a lot of people come from places outside of St. Louis where they've never dealt with blacks. And that's the problem. Because if you ever notice, if you look at it across the country, a lot of the times your police shootings deal with white officers when it comes to black suspects. And with me growing up in the hood, per se, I know a lot of times these guys, they run in to get away from me. They just as I'm scared of them, they're scared of me. So it's not that they're necessarily trying to do me harm. Hell, they trying to get away. They just want to get around that first corner so they can ditch that gun and go about their business. I understand that.
Right.
I understand that 100%. But since we don't talk about it, they don't know. And people are afraid to talk about it. I think one of your callers said it. We don't talk about that enough. And once we start talking about it in the law enforcement community, that's when we'll build those bridges. But until then, as long as you got egos involved, it's going to be that level of disrespect. It's going to be that level of disrespect. That's what it comes down to. But to answer your question, this gun and badge gives us so much power, we feel like we don't have to respect nobody. And that's just how I feel about it. You know, it's so hard. It's a hard job already. But again, some people, they just can't. You can't give everybody power. You just can't. Everybody don't know how to deal with it. They don't, and that's unfortunate. You know, but again, like I said, I'll never make excuses for them. But a lot of this stuff, it's got to stop, man, because it's to a point when I'm in uniform, I don't want to stop at a gas station to get gas. I can't wear my uniform back and forth to work because I don't want no problems, man. I've been doing this job for 17 years. I got 3 more years and I can retire. I ain't trying to fight with these young cats, man. And I most definitely don't want to kill nobody. You know, so, but again, they scared. All they see is what I represent. They don't know me. You know, so they just don't like the police. But it's got to change, man. And more people need to, talk about this stuff. I know I hate you dedicating your whole show to it, but it's good because I've called several times before, and a lot of times I usually identify myself as a police officer. But it's to the point when I get stopped, I let them know, hey, I'm the police. Hey, I ain't on none of that, and I shouldn't have to do that, man. I really shouldn't, and I hate that I have to do it.
Right.
But that's the times. But something's got to change. It's got to change. It has to, because it's not gonna get any better.
Well, man, we definitely appreciate your call tonight, man. Wow. I mean, I don't even know how to follow that up. That was an amazing call. I'm telling you, this is the best show that I think we've ever had. And I'm going to get my lazy butt in gear. I'm putting this one on YouTube. It's going to be on my site. Everybody needs to hear this one. But especially that call. I mean, you said a lot of stuff right there. You know what's funny? I remember, I was a street kid and all that, but I remember specifically a time when I was like, man, I want to be an FBI agent. And my parents and them was like, why? I was like, cuz, man, I love how they just come on the scene and just take over. I wanted to be like, walk up on the scene and be like, who's in charge? I am. No, who's in charge? Oh, okay, you are. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Like that was attractive at first. I was like, yo, they come on the scene and shut it down. So, I mean, it's funny for me to say that, but there's some correlation to that, to what my man just said. To some degree, I'm pretty sure, for some, not for him, not for my uncle that I talked about in my video. I know cops that are cool, chill dudes, man. Real people, that's just their job. I even know some dudes in the FBI. That's crazy, like, looking at the past I had growing up, and now I know people in all these different places. But real people. Ain't everybody a jerk. Ain't every cop a prick and all of that. No. But I think what my man just said there, and I appreciate you, man, for coming on and saying that, that's real. Everybody knows that. You can't give everybody power. You cannot put everybody in high places. You can't give everybody the ability to walk around like they're in charge because they're going to abuse it. Another key thing that my man said was, listen, man, people going to click up with who's like them. If they're not used to dealing with a certain crowd, they might click up with some folks that's more like them. And maybe some of those folks are a little more extra than them. Those folks could be racist. Those folks could be, brutal type of cops where they want to just beat somebody. And then you just fall into it by accident because you don't want no friction, in the department. Now, me personally, I would say, can't no man make me do what I don't want to do. I don't give a, I ain't even going to curse, but y'all know I don't, listen, I'll turn the other cheek. You're like, nah, bro, you go that way, I'm going to go this way. I ain't doing that. I ain't cool with that now. That I can't do. And you ain't going to make me do it just to fit in. But everybody ain't built like that. You see what I'm saying? Ain't everybody built like that. So I applaud you for coming on and saying that, man, and he's right. And did you hear what he said, Smitty? He don't even want to be identified sometimes as a police officer in uniform because of how crazy it has begotten. You know, it's become so crazy, and this is the realest thing. You've seen videos of this on YouTube as well. The black officers are being chastised. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you be a cop? How could you be down with them? You know, if they doing their job. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But what an outstanding call. What an outstanding show so far.
Yeah.
Maybe we could end it on, you know, I'm not even going to say positive. This whole show is positive. But like I said, we'll end it with some balance here. We got 18 minutes and so left. Let's talk about these Madden sliders, man. And this is something that we've kind of discovered, you know, Smitty and myself and Azur. Again, we're not slider guru. We don't proclaim to be. You know, we're definitely not. I got to give a shout-out to my guy, Charter 04. I'm definitely not a charter. A guy like that studies and studies and studies. But what we do have the advantage of is we have the ability to talk to the developers. And there's a couple engineers that we talk to. Like, I have an engineer buddy. I'm not going to say his name, but, you know, he's always giving me the ins and outs about how the sliders currently work. There's a lot of work to do. We all know that and hopefully we have time to share what we want to see with the sliders. But basically, guys, in a nutshell, how it works now, it's more so it increases and decreases for lack of a better term, the dice roll. You know what I mean? If you, let's say you turn blocking up to 100, then you are increasing the ability of that block being held, which some people will say, oh, okay, that should be obvious. And it probably is. Same thing with things like pass coverage and stuff like that. Ironically, fumbles, I believe, I won't say it's backwards, but if you read the definition, it says the lower the number, the more fumbles you'll see. So, like, if you want to create more fumbles, obviously you turn it down. But I say all that to say this. You know, you see a lot of people adjust sliders, and they're thinking they're getting certain outcomes. But the problem that I have with it, and I'm sure Smitty probably shares this, what they need to do at some point, man, the sliders to me needs to just be optimizing the experience, so to speak, as far as, like, how can I say it, Smitty? I don't like the fact that sliders can affect performance. So this is what I'm saying. Let's take a guy like J.J. Watt, a freak of a beast. You know, this dude is probably going to get a sack per game. I mean, it's not inconceivable to think that. I don't want to turn a pass blocking slider to 100 and this dude can't get no pressure. To me, that ain't right. That's not the way it should work. To me, in my crazy dream world, this is how I would love for it to work. If I turn something to 100, that should mean that 100% of the time, this guy is going to try to block. He's not going to be lackadaisical. He's not going to be olaying and halfway attempting. Like, to me, that's what a slider should be. Wouldn't that be great if the slider kind of helped effort? That would be outstanding. So even if this dude is, he's the most bumless lineman you've ever seen. I mean, this dude is horrible. And I hate to pick on him, but just think about Michael Orr in the Super Bowl. There wasn't nothing Michael Orr could do against Von Miller. It was nothing he could do other than call two of his boys to line up with him and help block him. I want that type of thing to happen as well. Even if I turn the slide up to 100, then Von Miller is he's just beating this dude today. Ain't nothing he can do. You see what I'm saying? And currently it's not that way. And I'm coming to the realization that's the reason why sometimes, man, I've gotten to the point where I kind of just leave stuff on default. You know, one of my favorite slider sets is now, since they've untethered the difficulty with the slider. You know, they don't change depending on which whether you're on rookie or Madden. I like just being on All-Pro, 50-50 for everything. And I usually turn pass coverage and reaction time up to 100. That might sound crazy, but I'm telling you, I get some outstanding gameplay that way, and people still get beat. People, right guys are covering, and some of the whack guys are not covering. And I just do it like that because I think when you start, I know Smitty has some things that he's tried too, and I've tried his sliders, and gameplay is just fine as well, like lowering certain things like tackling. I agree with that because I think I agree with Smitty on this. If you lower the tackle slider, you start seeing more physicality happening. So you got to find that sweet spot, though, because if you take it too low, then, quarterbacks, everybody just breaking 6 or 7 tackles per game, and that's the stuff that we don't want. So that's kind of like one of the things that I'm taking upon myself, along with many other things, that I want them to start changing the architecture of the game like that. Like, this is the reason I can agree with people when they say there shouldn't be sliders. And I don't think, Smitty, I don't think people know what they're saying when they say that because they usually have a different explanation. But my explanation for that, for saying there shouldn't be sliders, I would mean that there should not be any sliders that dictates chance. I don't like that, man. Because it's like, it makes us feel like ratings ain't being respected. Because I'm pretty sure you could turn ratings to 99 for the offensive lineman. I mean, all the way up. And you turn that pass blocking down to 0, he's going to be getting beat quite often. Now, at the same time, before I pass it to Smitty, I'm not saying that elites can't be beat. Or I'm not saying that you can't hold J.J. Watt in check. The reason why he usually only gets maybe 1 sack a game. But the game needs to be more based on physical ability, ratings, and, we all want abilities to dictate that more, but I know they got to put ratings in there somewhere. But it needs to be those 2 things, physical stature and all of that. That should always be what dictates outcome. Not a slider, and definitely not difficulty. Like, I hate the fact that we all probably agree with this. You put it on all Madden, leave it on default. I mean, the game just becomes superhuman. That, to me, that has to go too. The difficulty setting should be strategic. If I put it on the top level, that means I got to be more strategic in my game, my play calling, personnel changes, et cetera, et cetera. That's what all Madden should be. It shouldn't be, as like the definition says, virtually impossible to beat the computer because the game is cheating. And that's the reason why I don't play on all Madden. Because the devs have always said All Pro is the most balanced gameplay. But we got to get them sliders and stuff right, man. But sorry for the little rant there, Smitty. But, man, please let us know how you feel about it because I know you've done extensive testing just like myself with these things. And what kind of things are you finding out?
No, I mean, basically, like, what I try to do is I would like to zero out sliders and see how much I have to turn it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, the less I got to do it in general, the better. Because that just makes, that just lets me know how much of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, as far as gameplay, how much the player's skills are dictating outcomes versus what the slider is set to. Like, I would love to be able to drop all the sliders as much as I could to 0 and then see a realistic game unfold in terms of, like fumbles and catches and all that stuff, or at least keep it at the bare minimum, but still get a clean game if I can. So that's the main thing that I really look at is that, because I'm in the crowd. I'm part of the crowd of I'd rather play without sliders. So I'm in that crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let the devs make the game. Like, Dez could build the game, and I'm good. You know, they can just build the game the way it needs to be built, and I'm straight. Just let how they build it dictate it instead of it, you know, like I got to push these sliders to a certain point to get the game that I should be getting. So, but that's pretty much how that's where my feelings lie on
it. Yeah, man. I just need it to just be, you know, 1-to-1. You know, like I hate having to turn all of these knobs, you know, for lack of a better term. It really gets on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? It gets on my nerves, man. And, you know, we're at 9 minutes left. I see there's 2 calls in the queue. I'll be honest and saying I don't know if we're going to get to both of them. So I'm going to definitely have to answer the first one first. It's area code 318. You know, if he's short with his question and response, then we can definitely bring in the next caller. But if not, guys, you know, we're simply just running out of time. Let me stop talking. Area 318. We got you in, man. What you got for us tonight?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up,
man?
I'm going to keep it short and brief. The only thing I want to ask, I want if like the equipment guru. I don't know if I got in later or anything like that for the equipment guru. And so I don't know if he called in or not.
No.
The only question
he didn't make it.
Yeah, the only question I want to ask him is, you know, because you know I like the sleeves and stuff like that. Even though I asked you guys to ask him, you know, about the sleeve things on Twitter. The only question I want to ask him, because like I don't know if they actually, you know, were in the same building with the guys who made college football, but how could college football 11 incorporate, you know, the full sleeve edition compared to how come they couldn't as fast in Madden 17? And that was the only question I want to ask about the equipment, man, pretty much. Like, I just want to get a full understanding of it rather than just, you know, make my own preconceived notions about it. And that was
great question, man. He didn't make it tonight. He told me that he'll probably be able to make it next week. You know, if you'll be around, I would say to call back and ask that question. I'm going to jot it down and ask as well. But that's a great question. I think Smitty and I probably know the answer to that. But I really want the dev to explain it. But the short and sweet version, man, is, believe me, there's so many things that NCAA did that's not in Madden. And Smitty and I have asked that exact question. Well, how come you just can't put it in there? Honestly speaking, it's just not copy and paste, as well as sometimes. I'll give you a real quick story, and this will sum it up, and then we'll grab the next caller. Y'all see all them stars and stuff like that in MUT? In Draft Champions, how the stars is under their feet? First thing I said when I saw that last year, I said, yo, we need that in CFL. I want to be able to identify quickly who's the threat. Real layman answer that I got. Now, man, some stuff we got to keep for certain modes. So it has its own thing. So, not saying that's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is NCAA has stuff that Madden didn't. And purposely, I'm assuming because college and NFL. So you got to make the game different in some kind of way. And the reason why you haven't seen a lot of that stuff yet is because it ain't as easy as we think to just throw it in there, because they have to, they have to find a way. They have to bring it into Madden the right way to where it doesn't interfere with Madden infrastructure. And honestly speaking, it's priority. That's the answer we get all the time. And I know a lot of that stuff is set to return. It's just a matter of when they're going to do it. Sucks, but that's really it. But we definitely won't want to hear that from Dustin when he calls. But we got 5 minutes exactly left. This is, I believe, my man Dez. We got to ask you to keep it short, bruh. Sorry that you came in so late, but we got you in now. What you got for us, man?
Yo, I just can't wait to hear the replay, because I didn't hear anything until my man in blue came in and shut it down, man. Shout out to you, yo. Like, please be safe out there and keep doing your thing, man. Yo, I've been saying for a long time, I don't like, sliders and stuff like that. And I know we always had the conversation of whether it should just be a sim mode and a casual mode and whatnot. I think if anything, it should be a regular mode and then easy play or whatever that is. Like, I don't think we should have to bump it up. I think they should have to bump it down. if anything. And, to me, like the whole concept of slide, if you hit around there, it's like, it takes away from, the rating. Smitty, you said, you want a no slider environment. I'm with you 100% on that, because I think when we start tweaking the sliders, you just see so much foolishness in the game, so much little nonsense happening in the game, dudes driving wide open passes, people just not, it just gets dumb. And even if it plays out the way it's supposed to in certain scenarios, it just breaks the game a little bit, which is something I want to take real quick. 1 minute. CFM, that's what I think happens in CFM with the progression system. When they changed the ratings from what they had in the very beginning of the game, after they put the real CFM patch in there, where the CFM actually worked, they said that they tuned the speed to be more appropriate for receivers and corners and the whole nine. So when you import that roster in the CFM, you're building your dudes, but you're building the dudes based off the roster that they dropped the game with in the first place. And all the rookies that come in with all the crazy speeds and stuff like that, when they start tuning the speed within the draft classes and whatnot, that's cool. But at the same time, it kind of breaks the game, because you've been getting dudes ready to play under the landscape that was out there in the very beginning, when the physical parameters were already set by the first roster. And when you keep tweaking it and you feed us different stuff, I feel like it just makes it so your dudes who's all of a sudden, you had a dude who was an 85 and he was dominating the league, and now he's at 93 and he can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the stuff I hope that they just pick a system to stick with it from day one this year. I know I jumped in late, man. Great show. I can't wait to hear the rest of it, man. Y'all have a great week, man.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you calling, but it definitely listen to the replay. Like I said, I fooled around, guys, and I got to go into the office tomorrow because we having something for one of my coworkers, a little baby shower. So I'm gonna try to stay up a little bit and get those uploaded tonight if I can. If not, it'll definitely be sometime tomorrow evening. Got to hear this show. But yeah, I fully agree with that. We're at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. One thing I'll say real quick, man, then I'll throw it to Smitty to close out. Y'all know I have a lot of beef things or things that I really want to address in Madden. But another one of my single most things that I need addressed is the fact that there's too much tuning. And what I mean by that is, you notice how things can be adjusted. They can adjust aggressive catch and blocking and, how well guys can run. And I don't like that. And I know that's probably all video games, because none of these games are fully organic. But I think I got to keep pressing on until we can get a game that's organic. I don't like being able to adjust how well the CPU can run the ball, and because you start messing with stuff, like catching or block shed or the window that you have available on all Madden and how soon they'll come off their block. I don't like that. I need a game, and who knows if it can be done, but I'm in quest for the game to be organic, based on physical ability, physical attributes, weight, mass, etc., etc. We got 1 minute and 5 seconds, Smitty. Take us away, man. Close us out.
The last thing I wanted to touch base on here actually was what happened with John Jones. And it royally sucks because of everything that has happened with him. To find out that a drug test he did back in June hits him 2 days before UFC 200. And it's that's a huge killer. I listened to the press conference and saw him in tears. And, I mean, my man was in bad shape. Like, I feel real bad about that, and it just really sucks. Like, we won't have enough time to elaborate on it now, but it's something I definitely like I said, I want to touch on, after the fact, once UFC 200 is concluded and everything. Definitely want to talk more about it, but it just sucks. So, but all in all, though, just to cap it, this was an outstanding show. Like Sim said, like others have said, this was the best show. I would say this is the realest show that we did as far as depth. You know what I mean? Like real topics, real stuff. And this is the stuff that has to continue. This is how you get stuff changed. So when people are curious about that, this is how you do it.
Yep. That's our show. We'll look out for the replay. Realest show ever made. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.